And Claire, I do want to apologize for yesterday. I didn't mean to upset you.
Apologize for raising my voice at you.
Thank you.
Isn't it funny though, isn't it? I don't think that makes sense. Isn't that fun though? Isn't it? It doesn't matter. Let's just get into the point. Why can't Sophie? I mean, listen, we've had scenes where Sophie does meet up with Rob by herself, but this season is something particular. No, I'm gonna say even last season as well. I feel like we have more scenes where Sophie has her mother with her or her friend with her whenever she's around Rob. Then we have scenes of her where it's just her and Rob having a conversation. It's as if her and Rob don't have the ability to have a conversation by themselves and be able to come to a solution by themselves. You know, it seems as if, like, you know, Sophie always needs someone in her corner to, I guess, aid her point or to support whatever she wants to say, or maybe even to speak for her. Now, don't get me wrong, in this situation, it's not that deep yet, because obviously right now we've experienced apologies, but let's continue.
It is upsetting to me that I have to get my things and go, but I do know it's the right thing.
Some bull. I apologize to Claire. I got Sophie a gift. It's like a shot in the heart.
Of course, Rob was expecting Sophie to come over for them two to talk things out, and hopefully, you know, for her to move back in again, because, well, that is the right thing to do when you're married. Honestly, I forget that they're married. Throughout the whole season, I have to keep reminding myself that these two are actually married because Sophie's never at home. But anyway.
Claire is absolutely responsible for this.
So let's just recognize that Rob is saying that he believes that Claire is responsible for the fact that Sophie does not want to move back in yet, that Sophie's still going to go and live with a friend for however long. And here's the thing, I do wonder if Claire wasn't there, would have Rob still sat there and said, oh, I blame Claire for this? Because sometimes I feel like the reason why Sophie has people with her when she meets Rob isn't just only because she needs them to speak for her or she needs them in some sort of way that supports her need. But I also feel like it's also a way that that person that she's with will then get thrown under the bus. Because each time Sophie brings someone with her, when something doesn't go right between her and Rob, Rob will always blame the person that Sophie's with. Whether it be her mum, whether it be her friend Kay, whether it be her freaking ex-best friend, the Kai, or whatever his name was from freaking the UK, he always blamed that person. Do you see what I'm saying? Even though the real problems that they have is between them two. He should be thinking, hold on a minute, why can't I speak to you without you bringing someone with you? That's what you should be thinking. But at the same time, actually, I'll leave it there.
Her opinion will always be against me, no matter what I do. Things might get out of hand. This woman is my worst nightmare.
I mean, listen, maybe she is his worst nightmare. You never know. That could be a possibility. But it doesn't change the fact that right now, it feels as if Claire's somewhat the scapegoat in the conversation. Now, I'm not saying that Claire hasn't done anything necessarily to interrupt their relationship that is unhealthy per se. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, Sophie's the one who's always willingly allowing other people to come in and have a voice on their relationship. When in reality, the voices in their relationship only be between them two. And at the end of the day, how is Sophie ever going to learn whether or not Rob is whether Rob is for her, if she's never going to be able to conquer things by herself with him, to be able to identify whether or not he is manipulative, whether or not he is a bad person, whether or not he is the best husband or not, whether or not he is the person that she needs to be with. It's like she does not articulate what's right and wrong and does not articulate whether or not this guy is for her. So therefore she needs others. But even when others come into the picture, whether it would be her mom or a friend, whatever, and they say, well, Rob is this, Rob is that, she still sticks, she will still stay with him anyway, which is the other part is even more confusing. So you bring people in, they will then let you know what they think, and most of the time it's always negative things regarding Rob, but yet you still stick around and you still married him, and you're still married to him. But even though you haven't, even though you've now left the household and you're living with someone else, your friend, but you still haven't broken up with him. I don't get it. What game is she playing it? It's like she wants to have a hold of him in some kind of way where he can't go anywhere else, but at the same time, she doesn't really want to be there. But at the same time, she does want to be there. But then at the same time, people will tell her things to not be with him, but then she still be defiant and still be just, you make it make sense. The matter of the fact is, my point is that it seems to me right now, when you look at everything that is going on in their relationship, there is a key denominator, and that seems to be Sophie, because she's not putting herself in a position where she can go solo in this relationship and actually try and learn from whatever they are both doing wrong. But no, someone else has to be there to aid the situation. Well, let me know your thoughts and your opinions on that one. Now let's move on to the next couple.
Putting the dishes away and getting dinner ready and packing the bags and
When do you want me to
organizing
do
the
that?
house.
I don't know if she downplayed it on purpose or she really didn't know how bad it's gonna be.
So right now, obviously, we got Lauren and Alex here, and to be honest with you,
But Lauren really downplayed this recovery. Was saying that, yeah, don't worry, nothing gonna change. I just can't lift heavy things. And now she can't move, she can't lift, she can't look up, she can't look down. Be like,
now she can't move, she can't look, she can't move down. And obviously, Alex does go on to say that, and this isn't even like the first speaker is understandable, because that's when she was told that she cannot do all these things. But now we've gone past the first 2 weeks or whatever it will be, or I think it's the first 2 weeks. We've gone past it, but we're still in the same position where I have to do all of these things and you're not doing anything, or you're not doing enough. So I understand him feeling as if she downplayed the whole experience. Now, initially, my response was, well, in a relationship, sometimes you just got to adapt to things. If things don't work out the way they're supposed to, sometimes you just got to continue to make things easier for your relationship and to make things easier for the other person until they're able to come around and actually help you. So for me, I was like, I feel like Alex he's been a bit too much. He's been a bit petty right now. It's really not that deep. Just adapt to the situation and it's going to be a-okay. That's my initial reaction until Lauren said this.
you underestimated this surgery. I feel like you didn't tell me even how hard it's gonna be.
I
feel like
didn't think it was
you
going to be this
played it
hard. I
down.
didn't think that the recovery was going to be this intense.
Recognize that she says twice that she didn't think that this was going to be this hard.
Honestly, I did the surgery for you,
You
too.
didn't do it for me.
Yes, I did.
For me, I told you, go to the gym. Don't
The man is not lying. He did say go to the gym. And to be fair, I'm not a fan of the fact that she says that she did it for him, when in reality, you did it for yourself. Because if you did it for him, then you'd have listened to him saying, no, don't do it. So you can't be saying that you did it for him.
go to the surgery.
I feel like you resent me for this surgery.
I don't resent you, but you downplayed it and you
I'm
told me
glad
it's
I
nothing.
downplayed it, because if I didn't,
You would have still
you would have not supported me. I'm glad I downplayed
had
it.
no-
And then she admits to downplaying the surgery. And the moment that she admitted to downplaying the surgery is the moment I was like, now I go back to what I said before. And I was like, well, maybe Alex just isn't adapted into the situation. Well, guess what? Never mind. She downplayed it. And that is mean. That is unacceptable. You cannot tell someone you're having a surgery and then tell them that, hey, it's only going to be for a week or 2 or 3 that you're going to have to help me out and everything because I can't do anything. When in reality, you know the actual full truth about how hard it's going to be. But the only thing that I struggle with is that, okay, she admits that she downplayed it, but they both went and saw the surgeon together, and the surgeon did explain everything together anyway. So maybe the surgeon obviously explained the things that were necessary, but at the same time, maybe there's other things that you also have to know for yourself. Who knows? Or maybe she asked the surgeon other questions when he wasn't there. I'm not too sure, because that bit really threw me off, because in reality, I would have thought that in that conversation with the surgeon, that would have been a chance for him to ask certain questions and for them to get the right answers of how long it's really going to take. So therefore, when it comes to downplaying it, I'm thinking, how can it be downplayed if you both met the surgeon? But I guess maybe there's something that wasn't filmed, something that wasn't put into the production, who knows? But either way, though, they're having this conversation about it being downplayed, and obviously she admits that, yeah, he did downplay it, even though she denied it twice beforehand anyway. Yeah, in that moment in time, I understand his frustrations. Absolutely unacceptable.
No choice. I had no choice, Lauren, and that's it. I'm done. I'm going to sleep on the couch tonight.
So I don't blame him for being upset about it. But I'm also really disappointed because I didn't want to do it to push us apart. Like, I'm doing it now so we can have a better future together.
Listen, she can talk about how she was doing it not to push them apart, and because she sees a better future together, which kind of baffles me, to be honest with you. Like, I'm okay, cool. So actually, no, it doesn't baffle me. So from what I understand, the way it translates to me is that she believes that because she's now had this money makeover, in the future her body's going to stay good, so therefore it's going to benefit them both in that long run. Okay, if that's the perspective she wants to go with, I understand it, but at the same time, it's also a very lazy perspective. And I say this because really and truly, if she just gone to the gym, well then guess what? A good year, 2 years, you would have been in the shape you're looking. However she wants to look, the way she's looking after surgery, she would have been looking like this after a good 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, depending on how strict she was going to be on a diet, depending, of course, what exercise that she's going to do. So the question is this then. This work that she's had done on herself, how are you going to maintain it though? Because realistically, people forget sometimes that if we do things to our body, face is a bit different, but if we do it to our body, we have to then maintain it by exercising and eating good. So the question is she going to plan on now actually capitalizing by exercising and eating good moving forward? If that's the case, fair enough, even though she could have done it naturally anyway. But if she's not going to, obviously maintain it by exercising and eating good, well, then that means the money and the surgery is all a waste of time. And everything that you two are arguing right now is all a waste of freaking time. Like, yo, make it make sense, but sometimes you can't make sense out of freaking stupidity, or you can't make sense out of people that freaking lack common sense or whatever the hell they're talking about. Because right now, Lauren isn't really making much sense to me, to be honest, when she believes that what she's doing is for the greater good of the future, when she is still very young, so therefore her body's still in a state where you can still work it out and it can still look great. You see what I'm saying? But here's the thing though, you could be 60, you could be 70, out of shape, but then if you start working out at the age of 60, 70, when you're out of shape, you will still get in shape. It may take you a little bit longer than normal because your body's different, but you can still get into shape regardless. You know what I'm saying? So really and truly, the way she's looking at it about this is going to benefit us or whatever, it's a bunch of BS to me personally. She should have just gone to the freaking gym, and these two right now wouldn't be having these freaking complications. Like, come on, let's be real. But nonetheless though, let's move on to the next couple.
Ele nunca chegou pra mim como homem, olhou de ombro a ombro assim, cara a cara, e falou pra mim: ô Cássio, eu tenho intenção, boa intenção com sua filha, quero casar com sua filha e tal, assim, assado.
So, as you can see, the dad finally decided to, well, Ty's dad now wants to confront Patrick's dad. But you know what though, I'm going to say this now, right? Patrick's dad. This is a man that gives 0 Fs. The way Carlos is talking to Jose is interesting because he's trying to express his concerns, but the facial expressions that Jose is giving at this moment in time, look at this guy could care less.
Ô Cássio, eu tenho intenção, boa intenção com sua filha, quero casar com sua filha e tal, assim, assado.
But before we get into what John says next, either way though, I just find it hilarious the way he was just like, why are you telling me for? I could give a damn. I was barely even there for the kids. I just appeared when I felt like it, and now I just reap the rewards of his bank account. Why the hell do I care about him and his marriage? With a woman who doesn't even like me anyway. Why do I care? That's the vibe he was giving with his face. His face was said a million things. But anyway, John then says the thing that was needed to be said.
You, so therefore you weren't lied to you. So therefore you weren't able to get my brother to ask you for the blessing to kiss the ring. He was not able to ask the blessing because you didn't tell your father.
Listen, it took long enough, but finally, someone had to say it, okay, and let flipping Carlos know that, hey, your daughter is the one that lied to you. She's the one that didn't tell you the truth. That's just the grand scheme of it. But interesting enough, Thais, of course, has to translate what John says to her father. And all she translates is, John said that since we're already married, we don't need a blessing anymore because we're already married. That's not what he said, though. It's a part of what he said, but that's not the key points of what he said. The way she's still out here pretty much talking a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, not really telling the truth to her father, is quite crazy. How the hell can she be out here complaining about how she wants Patrick to give her father what he wants when she's out here still disrespecting him by not being truthful with him? She's the one that's making things worse by keeping things a lie and not keeping things 100%. You see what I'm saying? So really and truly, that is a fool. You know what I mean? Out here asking your man to gain respect from your father, but yet you're the problem. And yet you continue to create the problem. She should have just been honest. This was her chance to be honest. But instead of being honest with her daddy and letting her know what really happened, nah, I'm just going to downplay it and say John said this, rather than what he actually really said. This woman, she thinks that she's sly. She thinks that she's smart, but she's not. She's making things so much more worse than what they really are.
Patrick always have a hard time talking about his childhood. But I feel like Patrick is trying to buy his father's love. And
to be fair, I felt like this was a very good point, to be fair, because obviously, you know, Patrick is somebody that's still out here trying to, let's say, he still wants a love from his father. He still wants he wants his father to see him. That's what he wants. So no matter what his father asks him, Patrick will always give him because he just wants his dad to love him. He just wants to be seen. He just wants to be acknowledged. He just wants to be like, hey, I get it. I understand what he's doing, but it's not the right thing to do. His father does not deserve Patrick's kindness, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say that he's trying to buy his father's love. I wouldn't go as far as saying that. I would say that at the end of the day, he I would say at the end of the day, he is just trying to do anything possible to get his father to just see him, to just love him, you know, to be like, hey, I'm your son. Hey, I'm your father. Do you know what I mean? And sadly, money is the link between it. That's all.
It's not the right way to do it.
Acabou ficando 2 anos lá. Eu não conheço o Patrick. Não podemos confiar em ninguém.
You see, I found this one quite interesting. So we meet Thais' friends for the very first time. And the first thing that we're seeing is she goes, but she ended up, well, so the first thing that the friend talk about is how they know about how she met a guy and then how she ended up there for 2 years, obviously with him. So it's kind of weird because it feels as if Thais was kind of holding things back from a few people, because the way her friends are coming in hot about the fact that she went over to the States and then they haven't seen in 2 years, and then boom, bam, out of nowhere, she's married and they don't even know who Patrick is yet. That is crazy. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but there's many people who meet and then they end up getting married quickly, eloping, whatever, and then they tell their friends, family, or blah. So it's not something that is bad, but based on the context of how all this is being portrayed, it just feels really bad, because it seems as if Thais has a problem with just being honest with people. People who she believes are going to go against her word, then she won't say yes to them. Because here's the thing, with her father, she was worried that he wouldn't give the approval. With her friends, it seems to me as if she was worried that they wouldn't give the approval again, but this time it was for different reasons. And well, we'll get into those reasons itself in particular. And actually, well, in fact, we'll get to this bit first, because obviously there's this question here. Do you treat her right? Hold on a minute.
Trata ela direitinho?
She's asking if you treat me like good.
That is a very wild question, because I would have thought, given that they're your friends, you'd been speaking to them for the past 2 years, you know what I mean? So therefore you would have been obviously having those conversations about, well, he does this for me, or he's done that. But let's be real, women have conversations all the time with their girlfriends about how their relationships are going. Maybe not all women, but Thais is the type of woman that gives me the vibe that as if she would. So it was kind of weird if the friend asking these questions, to be honest with you. But hey,
Extremely rude. I'm just meeting her. It was after my first trip to Brazil. I met Thais, and I had plans on coming back to Brazil, but we weren't official.
So here's the thing. The friends were now obviously... Why? Hold on. I don't know what's going on my lip over here. This is my smoothie. Anyway, so here's the thing. When it comes to Thais, like I said before, she has an issue with telling people when she's going to do something that she knows they're going to disagree with. So therefore she won't tell them, and then she'll tell them, and then they'll find out once it's been done. Father, she didn't want to tell him because father did not approve of Patrick at the time. Friends, she did not tell him. Why? Because the friends are under the impression that Patrick had cheated on Thais. Because this is something that we're now find out now. You see what I'm saying? Because obviously right now they're asking about, yeah, but you cheated on her, you know, blah, 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 which obviously he's explained that he didn't. He went to a party, and at the end of the day, this one in time, he didn't know if he was going to see Thais again, so therefore there wasn't actually a couple. So he went there, he kissed the girl, and then obviously he tells Thais the very next day. Listen, he told her the very next day, she got over it, still married him, still had a baby with him, still moved to America just to be with him, you know what I mean? So really and truly, why this conversation is even happening with the friends is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. I sat and I said to myself, this feels like a production thing. It feels like something that they just put in here just as a storyline. But at the same time, if her friends haven't met him before physically, and it's been 2 years since they've seen her friend, and the friend and Thais hasn't exactly been communicating, then I understand why they may have questions. But at the same time, though, even though I understand why they may have questions, it's like 2 years, 3 years. Bear in mind, though, it's not even 2 years. It's 2 years that she's been away from Brazil. But the whole incident, I think, happened maybe about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. So why they're even bringing it up now is actually quite crazy. It makes no sense to me personally. So it feels as if like the production team have said, listen, let's dig up some dirt and let's just bring it back to the surface just for the sake of it. And that's what's happened. It's just been brought up just for the sake of it. But in reality, it has no relevance whatsoever. So it's similar to Emily and Kobe. How Emily's talking about, oh, we should meet your ex and we can find out the truth, blah, 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 blah. It's like, bruh, you've got freaking... It's like you're holding him and you got 2 kids of him already, and now you want to know about whether or not he was still with his girlfriend back when he was in China. How is that? Why is that relevant now? Since then, you've had 2 kids, you're now married, and to be fair, now in real time, you've now got 3 kids. Or they got 4 kids. I don't know. Either way, though, your life is already set up. Who brings up conversations like these? This far gone. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Sharp Entertainment, obviously, whoever does the production things or whatever, or whoever does editing, you're really failing your job, because now you're really forcing storylines that are just clear as day, in my opinion. Unreal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, just do better. You know what I mean? Like this show used to be so freaking authentic. Now it's just, I wonder if this part of the storyline is legit or not. Is this really reality?
And, you know, it was at a party and I was to kiss this girl and that was it. And I told Thais about it the next day, but we weren't together, so it wasn't cheating.
Which is fair enough. Now, here's the thing. Now, here comes the situation between John and the friend. And right now, the friend is calling John, Patty's brother, a-hole. So now they're bringing up what happened last season. Remember last season when, of course, when Patrick, not last, but the season that these two were on, when Thais first came to the States, and then noticed John decided to throw a party with a bunch of ladies, which therefore gives us proof that Thais obviously has been speaking to her friends this whole time, because how would they know about this party if she hadn't been speaking to them, which therefore contradicts some of the things I just said, because the storyline isn't really mapping up, if you ask me personally. But either way, though, they're now bringing up what happened then. But this happened a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. They've been married since and they've had a kid since. It's not relevant. Make it make sense. You know, when you thought that John didn't know any Portuguese, I believe they speak Portuguese in Brazil. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But you know, when you thought he didn't know none of it, and all of a sudden he knows how to call someone a slut in Portuguese. Like, out of all the words, everything, out of all the sentences ever he could ever say, for the first time, knowing he says that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't condone violence, but Johnny boy, you had that coming. You should have behaved yourself. That was uncalled for, unnecessary. If they want to be there doing a madness and saying all these kind of things, let them say what they're going to say and just don't let it bother you. But to let it bother you to the point where you now respond and you're now saying that they're this and that, yeah, that's a bit mad still. Either way, though, the behavior is still wrong on both sides from the friend and John, regardless. But yeah. And also, it was obviously throwing the drink over his face. Come on now, let's behave. But nonetheless, though, let's move into the next couple. But before we go to the next couple, though, let's just take a moment to look at Patrick's dad, Jose, giving 0 Fs about Carlos complaining about not getting the blessing. Let's go.
I'm absolutely sure Kobe understands that this is for the sake of tradition, that this isn't necessarily the reality. We get, you know, it's going to be like it was. I mean,
I hope it's not different. They've had...
I find that so fascinating, though, because obviously they're basically out here saying that, just know, Kobe, when we get back to America, we're going back to where? Our get out. I'm so sorry. But you know, obviously, how people were saying that this gives us get out vibes when we first met Emily and Kobe. It's just funny because the way that dad ends off by saying that, listen, we're just doing this just to play along. But really and truly, we just don't give 0 Fs about this. We're just doing this because it is what it is. But understand this, when we're back to America, it's back to our rules. Get out. Yeah, I had this in there because I found this line very, very interesting from the dad here. Because really and truly, it throws out the window the authenticity of what it's supposed to be. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, the experience, like at the end of the day, when it comes to the, sorry, let me get my words right here. At the end of the day, them going to Cameroon was to take the whole tradition seriously, which they display throughout the whole season. But then for the dad to end it off by saying that, he's just basically saying that we just did what we had to do just to do it. But when we get back, none of the things that we learned here, it's not going to matter. It's still going to be the American way regardless. Oh, wow. What a statement. Nonetheless, though, let's get into the final couple.
Okay, your mom wasn't being a woman. She was being a...
Stop.
Liz,
This is what we want. Just you owned up to it.
Okay,
Say
fine.
apologies,
Got
but
it.
don't make excuses.
Got it. Fine. I want you to learn from this
You
experience.
learned from it, Ed.
I want you to
You
learn.
learned from it.
I want you to
I've
learn.
already learned.
Have you to
You
learn?
learned from it.
I want you...
This man is legit the definition of gaslighting. The definition.
I've already
learn.
learned.
Have you? I'm worried about your next relationship. I want you to be happy.
Mine.
How can you tell someone that you just broke up with, I'm worried about you and your next relationship? Sorry, well, what's that got to do with you? This guy is literally like capital letters SCUMBAG. Capital freaking letters.
place.
You know, I'm gonna be fine.
I hope so. I do. I'm worried about you. I'm worried that
This is a
you're
narcissist.
never gonna-
Stop projecting.
You're never
Ed.
gonna find happiness.
I'm not talking about a relationship, Ed. I'm trying to say goodbye to you, and you're trying to bring up the next guy that comes into my life. You don't even know how to talk to me. Why don't you just start?
Liz,
why don't
you
you
don't
just
know how to talk to men.
How can you sit and say, but you don't even know how to speak to men? Sorry, so have you observed her whole life of speaking to men? This guy.
You're not a man, Ed. You're a child.
Okay, bye.
I definitely feel like I deserve to be loved without the constant fear, and because of Ed, I don't even know if I'm gonna trust love. Like
That is going to be one of the worst ever feelings, you know, to have as a person, you know, knowing, feeling like as if you don't know if you're ever going to be able to trust the whole concept of love in general because of the amount of damage that somebody's done to you. The best thing, I mean, we all know that Liz has now moved on. She has got a new partner, but I really hope that she had gone out there and really found herself more before she got a new partner, because if she hasn't really found herself more, something as traumatic as this can really affect you. Do you see what I'm saying? So I hope that the relationship that she's in now is not one where she's going to potentially self-sabotage, because usually when you've been through an experience like this, you start to self-sabotage even when things are good as well, because you expect them to go south at some point. God damn.
it can feel good for 1 minute, but it's still in the back of my head that it's never gonna work out.
Let's all take a moment to look at Ed being creepy as hell, watching Liz leave. Like, honestly, this is just spooky.
I love Liz. I tried to give her that too, but she wouldn't accept it. Liz is a good person, and it was real. The love was real.
Yeah, to be honest with you, nothing that comes out of Ed's mouth is real, to be honest. It's all a bunch of freaking puke. Gibberish. Oh, I may have to do another video though on Ed and Liz's scene, because to be honest with you, I feel like there's layers to this scene that maybe could be worth breaking down, because the level of gaslighting that he did in this scene was disgusting, and the level of trauma he also would have caused to Liz was also repulsing as well. So I feel like if I have time to really think more about this scene and I can watch it again at some point this week, I may end up actually making another video to really break down this scene, because to be honest with you, what is going down here, I believe happens more often than we can imagine as well, but it just happens in different ways, where people are in relationships where somebody will gaslight them so much and give them such a traumatic experience that they feel like being able to love is something that's just not possible in their lives, you know what I mean? And that's something that has to be spoken about and really emphasized on. But I'll see. If I've got time to really think about it and whatnot, I'll definitely be back with another video regarding this specific part of in particular. But with that being said though, I'll be back for a separate video with Angela and Mike. Okay, there's a lot of shiz went down on that one. But with that being said, for the meantime, please do like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.